Hello everybody, this is Phil Brown from sunny Oxford. I'm just replying now to a WhatsApp message that Mag sent me. Message to everybody, I suppose, in these tough times. I think regardless of who you support, we're all football people. We all love the game. We can't wait for the game to come back to us. And it'll only be a matter of time. It won't be long when we resume the 2019-2020 season. How that finishes, we don't know, but I do realise that Bolton Wanderers have had a really tough season and they're suffering at the moment. Obviously, looking likely it's going to be starting the 2020-21 season in the second division, but good luck to everybody. On behalf of Mags, I'm going to answer the questionnaire. My sporting heroes. There were two for Sunderland Football Club, which was my team when I was a young boy. One of them was a real tough, hard, no-nonsense centre-half who could head the ball further than he could kick it, and that was a guy called Charlie Hurley. And the other one was a goalkeeper who pulled off probably the best double save, in my opinion, in the history of the FA Cup. And it was in the final, so the double save that Jimmy Montgomery pulled off against the mighty Leeds United in 1973. That started off my passion for Sunderland Football Club, and it hasn't waned to this day. Best players that I played with, one of them for me is a Bolton Wanderers legend, and he was a better player than the standard that he actually made out, in my opinion, was Tony Kelly. Midfield player that could do most things with a football. He was a magician, if you ask me. He had a wonderful way of playing the game. He had a wonderful way of going about playing the game, and he played with a smile on his face. That was a big part of it. He was a real character. He's still at the football club now, I think, as a player liaison officer, and long may that continue, because he's a great guy. So Tony Kelly was one of the best players I played with, and I'll couple that with the great, in my opinion, the late great Billy Ayres, who I started my playing days at Hartlepool United, and there was a real strong character in the changing room called Billy Ayres. Billy unfortunately died not long ago, and left a lovely family, but he was a character. He was a hard man. He was somebody that I would like to say I based my defensive style of football on, meaning it was no nonsense. You got stuck in, you put your head in where it hurt, you put your foot in where it hurt, and you won the ball back as best you possibly could. And if you couldn't do it fairly, you did it unfairly. But no, that's doing Billy a dishonour, and I refuse to do that. Number 4 was who was the hardest player I've played against, the toughest player. Well, we had a couple of fantastic runs at Bolton Wanderers in the FA Cup, and I could quite easily name some of the great players, Peter Beagrie, people like that I played against, when it was Everton, and we played against Arsenal, we played against Liverpool. We had some great battles in my time, but I'm not going to go down that line. I didn't play at the highest level. I was very proud of the fact that I had 600-700 games at a lower level, but the players that I struggled against, and I'll rattle 3 names off here, you'll probably remember them. Louis Donowa had a real tough time one afternoon at Birmingham, playing for Blackpool, and we got beat 7-0, believe it or not, and he absolutely tore the strips off me, and I'll never forget it. It was a lesson in wing play. Winston White was the first winger that got me sent off. I was playing for Hartlepool United against Hereford, and he was playing for Hereford, and he tore me inside out, outside in, and eventually I caught up with him about in the 82nd minute and managed to foul him sufficiently to get a red card. And the other one was a guy called Ricky Otto, who played for a club that I managed later on in my career, for Southend. Ricky Otto, I think he played for Birmingham later on in life as well. Ricky was one of them quick wingers, very, very difficult to match him pace-wise, because he used to stop-start you, and I used to really struggle against players that stopped me and then started me off. So that's 3 players that I thought were really tough opponents. One of the greatest memories, or one of the greatest games that I've ever played in, was in that FA Cup run. A fantastic FA Cup run when I think Arsenal came to Burnham Park and managed to draw in the FA Cup, and we went to Highbury on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night midweek, and everybody thought the tie was over and done with, but we had a great tactician in a manager in Bruce Rioch, and we went to Arsenal with an unbelievable attitude towards winning the game. We were positive about it. We managed to get to 90 minutes level, and then extra time it wasn't a breeze, but it was all over. We ended up winning the game 3-1, and it was a game that I'll never forget. You had Paul Merson and Ian Wright and Alan Smith and Ray Parler. They had some great players, and I've not even mentioned any of the defenders. And they had one of the great defences with Tony Adams and Steve Bold and people like that. And we managed to win the game comfortably. So that was one of the greatest games that I've ever been involved in as a Bolton Wanderers player. Manager-wise, who's the best that I've worked with? It has to be Sam. Albeit Bruce was a fantastic disciplinarian. I think Sam had the lot. He could discipline you, he could have a laugh with you, and in terms of understanding how he saw the game and the future of the game, and he was ahead of all that, I thought Sam was one of the greatest managers I've worked with. And then the players. Do I keep in touch with the players? Well, Aidan Davison, me and him have gone through our respective careers, and we became best of mates 20 years ago, and we still, even though he lives in America and I'm living down south in England now, we're still in contact with each other on a daily, weekly basis. We've just finished working together in India. Somebody that I've always understood, and he understood me. Both go back to the northeast a long way. So Aidan Davison I keep in touch with regularly. Coyley was, strangely enough, the manager that got me the sack over in India. He's just took over Chennai, and me and Coyley stay in touch. McGinn, I've stayed in touch with John. He's been in and out the club in terms of scouting and stuff like that, but I still speak to quite a few of them. Ziggy, Mark Seagraves is over in India at the moment. Didsy, who's still at the club. Greenie, I've had a recent conversation with. Stubbsy. It goes on and on, I think that Bolton Wanderers team that we had, that changing room that we had, very, very difficult to forget when you have a period of success at a club. You always remember them characters, you always remember them players, and yes, I still keep in touch with quite a number of them. And finally, to finish off with, just a message from me, from my family, to my other family, which is Bolton Wanderers. I was involved at the club for 15 years, and club very, very close to my heart, as everybody knows, and I wish you all well, supporters, staff, players, management. Please get through this coronavirus scare as safely as we possibly can, and hopefully everybody be back fighting for to wear the white shirt in a, I'm going to say, a championship winning team next year. Hopefully when Bolton go into the second division and realise where they're at and get on with it, then it's a division that they're well capable of winning. Fingers crossed, hopefully all that comes and bears fruit. Love to everybody. I'll speak to you soon.